He's kind of like Sherlock Holmes without the ridiculous hat. So I guess that makes you Watson.
Elementary.
The boss of talk, Charles Adler.
Mick Kennedy is building a new life. But when his violent past returns, he defends his future. By the Grace of Good Friday, a new novel available now at Amazon.com.
You know, every now and then, somebody in the broadcasting business decides to do what everybody in the broadcasting business is always being told to do. People who are great storytellers are told, you know, you should write a book. And the storyteller goes, yeah, someday I'll get off my and write a book. Well, Scott Smith has done that. God bless you, Scott Smith.
Well, thank you, sir.
You didn't wait until you were 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 to write that book. When did you get the inspiration to write this great book about Friday?
1998, after the Good Friday Peace Accord was signed in Ireland. I thought of it the very next day. I thought this would be a great story.
It's a great title, By the Grace of Good Friday. Now, how do people get their hands on this?
Amazon.com, and you just put in the search engine By the Grace of Good Friday, and it'll come up. But make sure you go to Amazon.com.
Scott Smith is one of our best writers and producers at AM 640 under the Chorus Entertainment umbrella. Would you mind if I just read a few paragraphs just to give people, just kind of to whet the appetite for the book?
Not at all.
All right. Michael Colin Kennedy, just before we do that, set up the character. Who is he?
He's a guy that's not quite out of the IRA at the start of the story, and he wants to get out because he's not happy with the indiscriminate acts of violence where they start targeting civilians instead of military personnel. And he really wants out.
Michael Colin Kennedy's heart was pounding. He felt like a rabbit with a greyhound on its trail. His chest was heaving as he drew great gasps of air into his aching lungs. He had been on the run from British soldiers for an hour, having narrowly escaped a pre-dawn raid of the Derry safe house where he had stayed the night. And since then, he had raced through alleys, jumped fences, crashed through abandoned buildings to elude the British patrol on his tail, barefoot and without a weapon. Michael Colin Kennedy ran through the rain, water splashing under his shoeless feet. Finally, he reached the building he had been heading towards, scampering up the fire escape to the top of the three-story building, burst through the unlocked door, and continued just a few yards down a hallway. Finding the door to the roof, he scurried through it, up the stairs, bolting out of the rooftop door. Quickly he made for the fresh air vent and removed the hooded cover. Fastened to the inside of the sheet metal dome was a light quarter-inch thick rope that dropped tautly down the air shaft. He began drawing the rope upward, and shortly a canvas gun case appeared, along with a vinyl Adidas gym bag that clattered when he sat it on the roof. He knelt down, detached both bags from the rope, and then unzipped the gun case, revealing an Armalite assault rifle. Then, opening the other bag, he pulled out an ammo clip and snapped it into the gun. Flicking the safety catch off, he dashed to the parapet of the building on the side overlooking the alley he had so recently vacated. A pair of British soldiers, commonly referred to as the Paras, were cautiously making their way between the buildings. Michael sighted along the barrel of his weapon, targeting the soldier in the lead position. Gently he squeezes the trigger. There's an abrupt crack as the Armalite discharges, and the man's knee blows apart. The soldier lay writhing on the ground, screaming in agony, both hands clamped around his shattered appendage. His partner, racing forward and grabbing hold of the wounded man's armored vest, begins dragging him toward cover behind a nearby trash bin, and Michael takes aim and fires again as the pair of Paras scramble behind the bin. This time, the bullet misses the mark, caroms off the steel dumpster. Mick is preparing to squeeze off another round when a woman's voice begins screaming. He looks past the soldiers up the alley. 20 yards past them, a young woman, reaching into a pram. "No," she screams. "No, my baby." Rising up from the pram, she holds a tiny child in her arms. Heedless of the two soldiers lying behind the dumpster, she staggers past them toward the roadway, screeching for help. As she comes nearer, Mick can see the little bundle was stained crimson. Nausea sweeps over him instantly, and he drops the weapon, his body contracting violently as he retches out the contents of his stomach. Tears stream down his face as he gags on the vomit, choking out a mortal sob. Until now, the adrenaline rushing through his veins had kept him warm in the rain, but suddenly he's so cold he begins to shiver uncontrollably. Behind him he hears the door to the roof bang open and footsteps running toward him. Certain it was more soldiers, he placed his hands behind his head, expecting a gun butt in the back of his skull or a bullet in the brain, but instead strong arms lift him up and spin him around. Scott Smith, you've always known how to write. You've always known how to produce. But this has got to become the passion of your life by the grace of Good Friday. Thank you so much for letting us know about this, and let people know once again how they can take a look at this.
Just go to Amazon.com and search By the Grace of Good Friday. And it's free today, so download it today.
I hope everybody gets a hold of this. Scott Smith, his new book, By the Grace of Good Friday. Scott Smith, great friend of the program, writer, producer, and author with Chorus Entertainment. Good luck and Godspeed, Scott.
Thank you very much, Charles.